Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to Red 5 Reviews. Today's episode is a book review for Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron by Michael A. Stackpole. This book is book 1 in the X-Wing series. It was originally published in 1996, but was eventually reprinted this year in 2021 by Del Rey in paperback form with an all-new cover. This is part of the Essential Legends collection. Now, the story takes place several years after the Battle of Endor. Although he's not the main character of this book, the story revolves quite a bit around Wedge Antilles reforming Rogue Squadron. And even though the Empire was defeated at the Battle of Endor, they are not out entirely. They are now under the rule of Yasan Izard, who was the former director of Imperial Intelligence who seeks to destroy Rogue Squadron. Now, there will be no spoilers in this video, but with that said, let's review. I thought X-Wing Rogue Squadron was well written, and I enjoyed it, but was I completely blown away by it? Well, to be honest, not as much as I was expecting. There was quite a bit of hype that I got from others regarding this book, which admittedly might have made me go into it with higher expectations than I should have. I was told before I started this book to prepare for a ride, and that I would agree with because quite a bit happens in this book, whether in or outside the cockpit of an X-Wing. Let's start with some things that I enjoyed about Rogue Squadron. Except for an occasional reference here and there, this was my first Star Wars novel I've read that didn't include either the original heroes like Han, Luke, or Leia, or even the Jedi and the Sith for that matter. But honestly, I'm glad it didn't. It was a nice change of pace for a Star Wars book to not feature Jedi. It built up the suspense for me to see characters with no strength in the Force or iconically fancy ships like the Millennium Falcon and have to rely solely on their own training as a pilot or a soldier to fight their battles. Sure, we've seen the fighter pilots in actions in the film, but it was great to get a story solely from their perspective, adding a little more depth into the life of a fighter pilot. Wedge Antilles even states in the book that he's not some farm boy who went on to be a Jedi, or a scoundrel who married a princess, and that he's just a soldier doing his duty, and I really like that quote. I also like the tension in the book between the other members of Rogue Squadron, because even though they are on the same side, there is mistrust amongst the group, especially with one pilot in particular, who is suspected of being a spy. It's common in other franchises to see a group of individuals from different backgrounds have to put aside their differences and work together. And sometimes things all work out and the threat is destroyed with little to no casualties. But does that happen in Rogue Squadron? Well, you're going to have to read this book to find out because no spoilers here. But I will say that I thought this book did a good job setting up the second book in the series with a little implication that the mistrust amongst the group might not be completely resolved. Now, while this book was written well, it did have some flaws. There were some pacing issues here and there, and although they weren't bad enough to make me lose interest in the book entirely, I did find some parts to be a little slow or unnecessary. I did listen to the newly released unabridged audiobook of this novel read by Mark Thompson. I've rarely been disappointed with his narrations in the past, and that remains the same for this book. I thought his character portrayals were very good, especially with characters like Admiral Akbar, and the production quality was clear. For my rating, I'm going to give X-Wing Rogue Squadron by Michael A. Stackpole 4 out of 5 stars. Again, this book was well written, save for some pacing issues, and I do recommend you check out this book if you're interested to see the Star Wars universe from the perspective of a regular soldier or a fighter pilot. But if you're keen on sticking to the stories involving the original heroes or the adventures of the Jedi, then I would maybe not recommend this book for you. Hey, thanks so much for checking out my review, guys. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, then please be sure to hit that like button. If you've read this book, I'd be very interested to read what you thought of it, so please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you'd like to stay updated for more Star Wars reviews and discussions, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you all again so much. I hope you have a great one. And until next time, this is Red 5, standing by.